What's up, guys? It's me, Alexander Jarvis, founder of 50 Folds and blogger at alexanderjarvis.com. So you got the SaaS financial model and now you're thinking, great, I need to fill this thing in. So I'm going to create a series of videos for you and we're going to go through each sheet step by step. Now this is going to be the first remedial video. What I'm going to do is teach you some of the real basics, just like some of the formatting things, how the model's structured up. And so it might seem basic, but it'll be really useful for you to understand how it all comes together when you're basically going through and actually doing the model. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cover the top guides, the general structure of how information comes in and how it goes out. So we'll see on, let's say, start here. We've got a guide here, and it's going to explain how the whole sheet works. Assumptions here, it says it's not, and then we've got all the calculations. Now, if we look at, say, the support staff sheet, we'll see that there's the guide here, as usual. We've got a key driver sheet, which we'll cover in the next video. Then we have link assumptions. We've got a summary, and then we've got all the calculations happening here. Okay, so very simply, the guide is going to tell you how it all works, okay? The key sheet driver, for example, can turn things on and off. Some of the sheets will have the option to allow you to use a different approach, either a basic or a more detailed one. So link assumptions is where formulas or data points from another sheet will enter into this model. So any calculation in here is going to pull up from link assumptions, okay? Nothing in all of these formulas are directly linked to any other sheet. So you know exactly what's coming in. The next part, in the summary, this is always where things go out. So if you are in another sheet, a link assumption, if it's linked to the support staff sheet, it'll come in through the link assumption and it'll go out through the summary sheets. The staff sheet, whatever, if it was linked to, if it was linked to that sheet, the data would come in into the link assumption and it will go out through the summary sheet. So on this point, right, so we've got sales support execs. We know that these are linked, well, I know that these are linked to the staff sheet. So they'll come into the staff sheet through link assumptions. And then the formulas down somewhere around here will actually be linked to the link assumptions, right? So you think guide, links in, links out, wherever the summary is, okay? Links out. So that's how the structure of the models always works, okay? And so that you know where things are coming in and out. So if you want to go fiddle around this model yourself, you know that you need to make sure that the links in, the links out, they're always going to be linked together. Whereas if I had embedded everything, which I kind of did in the past, it would be a lot harder to kind of manipulate this model. Because technically, I could change any of the calculations so long as the links in and the links out are still the right ones. So let's say, you know, just for shits and giggles, you only want to have head count. You know, we could have a summary. I could literally just write head count, all right, and put in some whatever, you know, 2 million people, right? And these numbers will then be linked up here. But I always know that they're going to be linked, okay? So that's the first thing that you want to understand about how the models, or all my models, are actually structured up. Formatting, okay, let's go on the formatting sheet. Intro sheet. So here, we zoom in. Well, I'm going to take you through the types of formulas or inputs that we have here, okay? So the first thing we're going to see is a sort of orange, right, with blue text. It's a drop down. If you press Alt down, you can see it, okay? Or you can, if you click on it, it will drop down, on, off, right? You can change things on, you can change it off, okay? Those are drop down menus. They're predefined because they are restrictions of what you can and what you can't do. Now, if you see a yellow box, which, you know, has these numbers in, which is basically like everywhere, okay? Here we go, here we go, here we go. Those are the only things we should really be putting in numbers. All right, everything else, don't do it. We have occasionally a non-yellow box with blue text, which you might see, say, in the staff sheet here. right? If you see something like this, all these, you can add, you can type in whatever you want. It's not linked to anything. The model doesn't care about it. Links are important in the model because the model is very interconnected. So anytime you see a green number, which will be in a lot of places, let's just pick somewhere random. Here, say link assumptions, right? Which should generally be always in the top. You'll see green numbers, right? That means they are links. Linking to another sheet. They're not native to the model. Now, formulas, which is going to be pretty much everywhere in the model, are going to be black. So here, black formulas, 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 all right? There's just formulas everywhere, right? Assumptions, links, drop-down menu, okay? So that is how formatting works in this model. What do we have next? Sparklines. Oh, something fun which people find really entertaining. So let's look at, I don't know, here, why not? So these are things called Sparklines. They're basically mini graphs which you can put into Excel. And so these show you the trend line of what's happening over time. So we'll go from 34 to 282. So we can see that the numbers are increasing over time. We'll go from -10 to -42. And so you can see the trend line is going down over time. So these are, as you would say in German, auf einen Blick, going to give you an overview of how things are trending. So if you see things are getting all really weird and bumpy, you go, why the hell is there like these bumps, right? Somewhere around here, there's something going up and down. Why is that? Does that make sense? So these can be helpful when you're putting in numbers to kind of see are things going smoothly or are the things bumping up and down. And those bump ups and down are kind of what you want to look for as anomalies to make sure that you haven't done something stupid. What do we have next? Conditional formatting. In various sheets, I don't know where. Here we go, conditional formatting. Yeah, so we'll have, you can see all these are all colored-y, right? So red's typically the biggest number, blue is the smallest number. So we'll see here, if these numbers say 13,000 is a small number, whereas, where's the big number? There's nothing big here. What's a better example? Here, we'll see over time, okay? 90 to 909. So we'll see for this data set, these numbers are all small, so they're in light blue, whereas the highest point, which is the number of customers you have at the start of the month, is 909. So it highlights automatically what the numbers are. And so if I call this, I don't know, see that suddenly the formatting is all changed because this number is obviously absolutely massive compared to the rest of the numbers. So that's conditional formatting. It's baked into a number of places across the model where I thought it makes sense. And it will basically just help you highlight that things are making sense or they're not. So like the Sparklines, it's just a visual aid. Column I, okay. So column I, column I, column I, column I, column I. Getting the message here? Okay. I've purposefully used bank principles to put the first month in column I. There's only a couple of places in the model where this is not the same, and that's because I needed more columns to format the model. I think the staff sheet is one of those examples, maybe. We'll zoom out here. Well, actually, no, it's right. Depreciation, amortization. Well, generally, you will find that the entire model, unless I absolutely had to, kind of works. Month, yeah, it works. So generally find throughout the whole model that everything follows that exact format where the first month is always going to be I. So when you're looking at formulas, so a simple example, I here, see? No, it doesn't work. Here we go, all right? Simple formula, sum I to something, right? You know that it should be right because it's I. So month, right? So if you look at column Y, formulas are Y, right? Y. These are different, but yeah. So that's the point, is that I try and structure the model so that the first month is always in the same column. So then when you want to audit things to make sure things aren't messed up, that you can more easily check things out. Column I, groupings, okay. You'll find here are these grouping things, okay? And like, what are these? Little numbers, right? Ooh, magic happens. What happened there? Okay. So I've grouped things up into segments. So we'll see here, if you press 1, model type, blah, blah, detailed, summary, simple, detailed. You could click here and see simples, numbers, or you could ungroup it, regroup it, right? More numbers, blah, 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 how you want. Or you can press 1, which gets smaller, 2, which gets bigger, and then 3, which is everything. And so that's pretty much consistent across every single model sheet in this model, right? So press 1, everything gets, look, basic, premium, pro, yay. 2 gets bigger, basic, premium, pro. Press 3. You get all the minutiae of the details, okay? So that's how grouping works. One thing you probably want to do is say for pricing, let's say you have monthly fee, monthly fee, right? You can pick 3 different options here. So say we're picking monthly fees. What you can do is you're going to hide the other uses. Let's do this for you quickly here, right? So we have basic, premium, pro, and all of these are taking the standard monthly fee, okay? So when you're looking at your model and playing around with it, you don't have to see all the other options that are in the model. You can see what exactly it is that you want. You can do the same thing, I don't know, say for the staff sheet where we have simple and the detailed versions. We'll just say group into 1. We want the simple version, so we will just ungroup these. And now we can see the simple assumptions of how to model the staff sheet, and you don't have to see all the stuff going on from detail. Okay, cool. Groupings, model architecture, right? So navigation. Somebody put, you can kind of see how the model works if you haven't quite got your head around it yet, which I'm sure you haven't, absolutely. But here is a lovely flow chart that I had a dude in Russia make for me. And you can see how most of the sheets sort of interconnect together. There will be some more complications, but you can largely see that, for example, the marketing sheets all grouped together. And then we have P&Ls and the actuals, P&L combined forecasts, and how things are kind of put together. So you can just have a look at that to try and get a better understanding of how things are kind of flowing through the model. Adding rows. Okay, I had a call with the dude in Canada who bought this model today. And one thing he was asking Alex was, how do I add in columns? More rows if I have, let's not get too technical. He wants to add in some specific costs because he has subcontractors, okay? So the thing you want to watch out, so various costs here. What you would do is you see totals here. And say, I don't know, we're going to insert a row here. And it's going to be very similar to the entertainment. So I'm going to copy this, but I want to have it called subcontractors. And I'm going to pay $5,000 a month for it. Then in 1st of December 2020, these guys are going to start doing a lot more work, so I'm going to be charging $10,000 a month. So you'll see that these numbers are getting bigger once the date changes and we just add it, okay? But the formula is still embedded in, okay? But if you were the subcontractor, so let's say the subcontractors are R&D, change that to R&D, and then up the top in the summation sheets under R&D other costs, it is going to pull this up under R&D for this new $40,000 a month or whatever it is we're paying for, and that's it. So you can add as much rows as you want in. Just make sure you categorize things properly. For someone eagle-eyed, whatever form like still isn't working for whatever it is, but you get the idea, okay? Just change formulas, make sure the summations work out easy. Adding annual versus monthly columns. Okay, really simple. From us, all the sheets, we've got annual, we've got monthly. Now here, we have annual, and we have monthly. We have this freeze framed here, so if you want to go through, we're month 36, we're going to go all the way to back to start. You'll see that the line items and the annual stay consistent, whereas the monthly are skimming. So I generally use like sum if functions or average if or whatever to kind of add this all up for using date functions. So these are the annual numbers, 1, 2, and 3. These are just for the forecast, by the way. These don't, nothing in the model really, other than the combined sheet, are pulling in actuals unless they're being embedded, but I won't get too complicated here. So annuals, and then we have monthly stuff, okay? Annuals are generally just summations of the monthlies. So we have, see, year 1, 2, 3, and then we have 36 months of forecast. So the reason why the model is 3 years, not 5 years, I do get people reaching out asking for 5 years, is because you don't know what the fuck is going to happen in the future. Okay, you know, like what's going to happen in maybe a year if you're an early stage company. If you're a later stage company, then maybe you know better, but you don't know, right? Like year 1, 18 months, you can maybe plan. Year 2, are you still alive? Year 3, yeah, come on, cazzo, right? You don't know. And so trying to plan for years 4 and 5 for at least an early stage startup is ridiculous. The only model that I currently have available that's 5 years is the enterprise SaaS model, and that's just because of the nature of enterprise SaaS that things take a long time, and so it makes more sense for those purposes. I am going to get someone, or find the time myself, to make 5-year versions, I guess, sometime in the future. Maybe you'll see them on the site, but for right now, it's not a huge priority for me. At least for relatively early to mid-stage companies, 3-year forecasts are all you need. If you're VCs or angel investor, like typical retards, are asking for 5 years, they're just doing it because they probably write it in a blog or an investment banker, and that's what like big companies do. But like, it's just fucking ridiculous to expect like at least early stage startups to be able to forecast more than a year, let alone 3, let alone 5. Okay, so I think I've covered the general basics of how the model is formatting wise and structure wise is kind of working. Next video, we're going to dive into how to approach actually filling in this model, which I know is something a lot of people have asked before, and so we're going to do that right now. So click the next button and join me for the next rambling video. All right, guys, bye.